Hi there. My name is Deanna Sarosi, and I'm the Director of Policy and Campaigns at Oxfam Canada. Oxfam is a global movement for change made up of 20 affiliates working in more than 90 countries to mobilize the power of people against poverty and inequality. The effects of the pandemic have disproportionately impacted women, especially those who belong to Black, Indigenous, or racialized communities. And it is for this reason that we really advocate for a feminist response and recovery, which really prioritizes investments to reverse some of these long-standing inequalities that we're seeing here in Canada, but also around the world, and that really centers the voices of the most marginalized people who have been especially vulnerable to the pandemic and the economic fallout. So even before the pandemic, 67.6 million young people between the ages of 15 to 24 were unemployed globally. So that's a huge amount. But also here in Canada, young women made up 59% of total job losses in March of 2020. So COVID-19 induced youth unemployment can really affect an entire generation's future prospects. So young people have a right to a decent and equitable and sustainable future, and therefore they need to be part of decision-making processes. One that I'm thinking of that would be very important to have the representation of young women in it is the newly announced Task Force for Canada's Action Plan on Women in the Economy that the government announced during the last throne speech. The pandemic, of course, knows no borders and it doesn't discriminate, right? It has affected all countries, all people, but it's clear that those countries with very little resources to begin with don't really have the money for their populations to provide good healthcare, but also what's even more important right now is social protection. So a lot of people are falling through the cracks because they cannot rely on the check from the government to help them through these difficult times. And therefore, it's so important that Canada continues to invest in foreign aid to help those countries that are really struggling now. But also a big piece of that can be debt relief for those countries. So they don't have to spend their precious resources servicing debts that they have, but can use those resources to invest in their healthcare and their social protection. And so Canada can be a leader in advocating for debt relief globally as a result of the pandemic.